Hello, everybody. Hello, HubSpot users, video lovers, and video lovers to be. Today, I want to start with something. Picture this. Your prospect feels like they've already had a coffee with you before you hit the send of a connection request or a DM. And then you show up at a call. Of course, you don't know that person, but they know you. This is what we'll be talking today with Uroš. Uroš, how are you?
Good, and thank you, Clement, for having me. Yeah, this is a really interesting discussion and something that I kind of stumbled upon during my process, and it's super interesting. Can't wait to start talking about it.
Awesome. To those of you who don't know Uroš, he's a master video editor. I'm forever grateful for everything you taught me, Uroš. Yeah, if you ever need anything around video, even though my light up here, it's not sun. It's because of Uroš. I have a good light there. So let's jump in. Uroš, tell us about a video or a series of videos you published on LinkedIn that you kind of you can say, okay, that made someone treat you like a really old friend when you first met on Zoom. Then after that,
yeah, it actually happened to me. As I said, like totally by coincidence. Since I am a videographer, I have a video agency here in Slovenia. And it would be a bit weird if a founder of a video agency wouldn't create videos for themselves, just for others, So last year, I started to document like our work, like what we did here in studio, like out in the field and so on. So we were creating this kind of easygoing, short, behind the scenes videos. And then I also started to talk about like these projects, like what we did, what were the pitfalls, like what could go wrong, what didn't go wrong, went right. And like after, I don't know, like 4 months of posting, and I wasn't consistent at all. Like maybe I was posting once per week, sometimes twice per week, as I had the time. But then I think it was December, right? When me and you, we met on a LinkedIn conference in Ljubljana. And there, like during the when we had like a break, people came up to me and they started to talk to me, and I never met them, but they were talking to me like they know me. And then I was like, okay, what's going on here? And then suddenly one of them just said, oh yeah, I'm watching your videos, they're really cool, And then it kind of clicked, all right, so these are the so-called parasocial relationships in action, Do you know about these parasocial relationships?
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, I think I became familiar about that term when you explained it to me. I heard it from Adam Robinson, I think. Started talking about it that after doing a lot of LinkedIn lives and so forth, when he went to the in-person conference, people were just smiling at him like, hey, I know him. And the same goes for all the celebrities that we are all seeing on the TV.
And I mean the whole research. The research was done, I think, in 1956 or 50. It doesn't matter, but like long time ago. The research was done I think it's in University of Chicago, and like two professors from that university, I forgot their names, but they kind of noticed that people who are watching TV, they kind of develop a strange one-sided relationships with commentators on TV, And this is how they started to like kind of research this, and they kind of realize, okay, yeah, so if you watch constantly somebody on TV, like if you see them basically and they talk to you and you kind of nod with them, nod because you agree with them, they hit maybe on some of your personal values and so on and so forth, you kind of like subconsciously develop a relationship with them, and that really helps. That really helps in today's world, when especially in business, because you can create content, you can video, and then when you go to industry fairs or to conference and so on, like this thing happen to you when it's super easy to talk to people. Or what happened to me personally is like my sales calls, discovery calls, just became way shorter because people came on the call and they kind of understood what I did, who I am. They wanted to know more about my offer, and they just wanted to know how the offer works and what's the price. And if those two things were like aligned with them, then it was a go, basically. So it really made things easier, basically.
If nothing else, probably you build the credibility of what you're saying, and it was you could just jump right in talking about how you can help them instead of laying the ground foundation for, hey, you need to do video. And it's in a way I would say we were kind of having the same starting conversation at my previous company, which was a Legion agency. So we were using our own system to reach out to people. And then at a call, I clearly could say, because the system works, we're talking today. Right? And you're convinced you should talk to me because of that, because I showed, I used our own system to reach out to you, and now we're talking, so it works. The type of outreach works, and the same I think can work for you as a video guy doing videos, and then you jump into a conversation.
True. Although I would say that videos are the most annoying type of content for a regular, like for everyday person. I remember myself, I had to go through this really long process of 4 years of going to therapy to kind of being able to stand in front of it, because I was scared shitless at the beginning. And I filmed tons of videos that I never posted because I was either afraid what people are going to think. I was ashamed of my thoughts in a way. So I had to first deal with that stuff in my head before I could just, okay, let's do it. And sometimes this still comes back. So this is why I'm saying, yeah, it can be a bit daunting. I don't know how to say it otherwise, but it pays off long term for sure. Yeah.
Let's dig a bit deeper in that kind of struggle, and overcoming that kind of inner fear. I mean, if you recall how we started the whole relationship, I clearly said, I'm not comfortable with the camera, and to me at the beginning of that video recording journey, I felt okay. I'm good at Zoom meetings, being natural and talking to someone, because I watch someone on the other side of a screen and I see their reactions and so forth. But then when you're recording a video, it's a completely different feeling. In reality, it's the same. You're talking to a camera. In reality, to more people, not to one. But yeah, kind of going through that thought process. What helped me was having that kind of North Star belief that, hey, yes, video is a way, a media to grow your recognition, brand, whatever we call that. As short term, there will not be, most probably will not be a lot of success stories for myself, but there will not be hundreds of leads just coming in from that. But building a credibility through video, I'm convinced, and I was convinced back then, to suffer through all that. How are you seeing all that and talking to others?
I mean, standing in front of the camera and creating videos is similar to being on a stage and talking to people, which is, I think it's one of the number one fear of humanity, is like this public speaking fear, and I perceive, at least for me, it was super similar with video, but a bit, I would say, harder because you don't have the feedback. Because when you're standing on a stage and talking to people, you can see, as you said before, like on the Zoom calls, you could see that you got this feedback, and you could adjust if you maybe said something that maybe didn't land, or whatever, blah blah blah. So you could adjust your story or your narrative on the fly. When you're doing videos, you don't have this, and this is the number one, I would say, hurdle that I had to overcome. So yeah, I don't have this feedback. So what I'm going to say, I'm going to know, I'm going to notice if somebody doesn't like it, like after I post it, and and that was like, oh shit, people are going to think. But this is inherently, this is the the bigger problem here. Like, what are people going to think? This is something we, all of us, are asking. It's totally normal. This is some, uh, like my therapists used to say, this is something from the older days when we were still like living together in small groups, and shame was something that basically hold us in line, so that we didn't do something that was like immoral or something like that. Because if we did that, then we were exiled, and if you were exiled from the group, that meant certain death in 89% of situations, back then. And we still have this, we still our lizard brain still thinks like that, and that is why sometimes it's so hard. Or I mean, we find excuses not to show ourselves and not to express ourselves in our true form, like how we are, what we think, because we always try to kind of a little bit see what people think on the other side, and then maybe adjust our story a bit, like, yeah, we put a type of a mask on us. And again, this is completely normal. We need to have these masks to normally survive in outside, in the wider world, because you are, I mean, I'm not saying that you need to fake it when you go out. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you're a different person if you're at home with your partner, or if you are in the business meeting with business partner. You are a little bit different person. Of course, you're not going to tell like all your things that went wrong and what is bothering you to your business partner. Of course not. You're going to be professional there, and then at home, you're not going to maybe explain what happened on the business side, because maybe the partner is not going to understand, and whatever. Like, everybody has their own ways.
Yeah, interesting. I'd say no, we are convinced now that you need to do a video for all the reasons we discussed, and then really just build credibility. But how you should think about video, the format, the topics. I in a way challenge myself. Probably the topics you talk in a 1 minute long video needs to be different to a text only LinkedIn post or to a DM, because the format is completely different. With all I know on LinkedIn, we all, I guess, see how LinkedIn is playing around and testing and experimenting with how to put video in the feed. TikTok is probably a different story, but I see kind of TikTok videos styles are coming to LinkedIn. So, but on the other side, you have people just walking and recording and no edits at all, and then just plain video, and then frames and level of editing is completely different. And so are, in a way, I guess, topics, how to do a video that gets you to build a credibility in the right way is different. How you should think differently compared to text only posts or text heavy posts.
Yeah, I mean, the first we have like these two different, let's say, mediums, text and video. So when you read something, you scan it. Usually you don't read everything that is written, or at least I am like that, and I hear that most people on LinkedIn are like that. When they are scrolling, they are scanning, like they see the hook, it kind of picks their attention, then they click see more, and then they scan it. And if there is like a huge post, like me personally, maybe I'm going to start to read it, and then sooner or later I'm going to, if it really doesn't, pull me in, I'm going to just scroll. I'm not in the mood, but when it comes to video, I mean, it's similar, but the thing is that when you're writing a text post, you can shorten it really quite a bit, as I said, because you're just basically, you just in a way, like, say a statement, bullet points, so basically, as I said, you are scanning it, and this is how you consume it. When it comes to video, you need to like connect these dots, these parts of text post into a narrative, and how you do that, you have tons of so-called frameworks that you can use. The most used one in copywriting is PAS, so problem, agitate, solution. Because when you mention a problem, and people who have this problem, they're going to see themselves in that. And then you agitate the problem, you kind of scare them a little bit, so okay, this is going to happen if you don't solve this problem. And then you are hyped, okay, yeah, shit, this is me, oh fuck, this is going to happen to me. Oh, by the way, sorry for the swear words, I sometimes cannot help myself. Oh, this is going to happen to me. And then you give them the solution, and they're like, oh, okay, oof, I can solve this is how I solve it. And if you go back into ancient Greece, this is more or less the same way the dramas and the plays were made in that. I mean, this is like this basic storytelling techniques that works with almost with everybody, because we are just wired like that. If you ask me what storytelling is, I don't know how to explain that to you. If you would ask me like, what is storytelling, Uroš, I would say, yeah, it's I would tell you the story of Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say, so this is again another framework that works really well. When you have a hero, and this hero then falls into a hole, basically something happens to him. In case of Luke Skywalker, I think his aunt and uncle died. They were killed by the doesn't matter, the Republic or whatever, I don't know, I forget. And then he kind of heard about this, the Force and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then he started looking for Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he found him, and then Obi-Wan Kenobi was his mentor, basically. He helped him to start using the Force, and then he destroyed the Death Star, and this was the end of part 1, basically. So whenever we are talking and explaining things to, let's say, our followers and so on and so forth, what I'm seeing that is happening, especially in B2B world, is they're all talking about themselves like they are the heroes. Like, we have this product, this is our product, this is what it does, we have some huge production facility, state of the art in technology, and so on and so forth. But the problem arises because every one of us when we wake up in the morning, we start to think about like our challenges, like how we are going to solve our challenges. And if somebody comes by and just say, "Oh, look at me, look at this is my, look at my product, it's the best," we will start to try to understand how this product can help us. But we are burning calories, we don't want to burn calories, And if we don't get the message in a way that we understand, like how this can help us, we are just going to tune out and just continue with our on our path in life, basically. So this is why this structured, the way you explain something in video is so important. So that it's structured in the right way, so that the person on the other side can see themselves in those exact shoes, in that exact problem or pain point, whatever, and then they can kind of start to understand, okay, so this is how I can solve this. All right, okay, so this is how I can do this. And after a while, after a couple of times, like, when you prove to them that what you are saying is true, and then they can test it out and see, and it really helps. This is how your thought leadership, like how you become an authority. The acceptance. I would say, okay, yeah, but Uroš knows a lot about, video, or Clement knows a lot about HubSpot and how to help people like create better messages, and so on and so forth. So, yeah.
What you were saying is reminding me of what Yasmin Yasmin Alic was talking on stage at that LinkedIn event. It's kind of think of any post basically on LinkedIn, video or text. The goal should be, don't make me think as a receiver of that message, but follow or do something. Don't make me think too much. It shouldn't be I as a receiver of the message, text, video, carousel, whatever is a format, it should be easy for me to just understand what I need to do next. And it's more important than me start thinking for 5-10 minutes after I read your post. As you said, you just scroll through. Okay, I'm not in the mood to think for 10 minutes now. Maybe I save that kind of spark somewhere in my head, and I will think about it when I go for a run. But when I'm scrolling through LinkedIn, I'm not there to think a lot immediately after I see a post.
No, I mean, yeah, there's. I was the same. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I went through this process by myself, and I still didn't. I mean, it got better with my messaging, with how I articulate what I do and who I help. But at the beginning, I was the same. I was expecting too much from my followers, like, to understand. They watched my videos because it was interesting. They kind of saw what we did, how we created special effects in a product video, but they kind of didn't understand, like, how can we help them? Like, is this what we do? Like, the videos that we produce, is this something that they can use to use in their business? So there was a disconnect here, So, and what happens when this disconnect is present? What happens is, and this is with all content. It's video is just I would say, because it's the hardest to produce. It's even more painful. It doesn't work, basically, because you invested so much time and energy, and in such a case, it's even money, to produce a video, and then you post it and you get likes, and people are, oh, wow, great video, awesome, and then nothing.
Yeah.
And then nothing. And I'm, if I tell you the truth, like, I am a little bit pissed off at LinkedIn because on one side they're explaining, like, saying, yeah, we are testing video is for sure something in the future, and then the product manager is saying, yeah, we saw this 30% more people were using videos, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. But the impression part of video is the worst one of all the content, and then, of course, people come to people like me who are producing videos, and they said, like, why should we produce videos? Like, because there's this feedback loop is not there. They put so much energy into it, and then it's like, and yeah, of course, sometimes it happens, like, certain content is better, and the content is not so good, which is normal, But, like, if you post, 10 videos, and all of them are like, I mean, if you post 10 videos and you compare them with 10 just text-based posts, and you see the impressions are more or less there, then you say to yourself, like, why should I do video? And the answer to this is, because you build trust faster with video, because people can see you. They can, when we see each other, we can really fast, like, kind of understand who this person is on the other side, like, what are, like, these are this, how to say, the unspoken messages, or help me out here.
Reading between the lines or whatever.
Yeah, the non-verbal
Yeah.
conversation talk. You guys know what I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, to comment, I'll get to that, later points of why still video, but the kind of the challenging part, and I know I feel it every time when I post a video. Writing a text message would take you 15 minutes, or if it's really long or a thoughtful overview of something, it might take you 30 minutes. But the same amount you will need to write a good script for a video, and then you need another 30 minutes to record a video, then you need another 30 minutes. I'm making numbers up, but you get a point. You need probably 3-4 times the effort, the investment to get to a video, but the reward, as you said, is not there. Then you post a video and you get, of course, it's a vanity metric, how many impressions you have on a post, but this is immediately measured information you can get from a post, which is, I spend 15 minutes writing a good post, and then I get 1,500 impressions, and then I post a video and I get 800 impressions. So why the hustle? And I mean, I agree here with you that it's a long run, and it's that credibility,
but
level you can get with video. And I'm curious also hear your take on all those AI avatars, and let's say you struggle, and let's say AI avatars can help you in the same amount of time as you would produce a text video. You can create a video, a text message. You can create a video, and then you just post it with your AI avatar. But I don't think this is for the good, because video is really building that familiarity with the face of someone, with gestures, with, as you said, non-verbal communication. When you see someone smile and you're sure this is the real person, you look at that person from a completely different point of view than if it's an AI avatar. Of course, then we can debate how far we are from AI avatars looking exactly like us. This is probably another longer discussion, but from where we are currently, I really see a video as a media to build trust, face recognition, name recognition, everything we talked today. And it's hard to measure. It's unmeasurable. It's untangible in a way, that there is no short-term return of that, but on a longer run, it builds up.
Yep. Let me answer this by going a little bit back and first answer, like, why should you do this? Why should you create videos if creating text-based posts is so much easier? So first of all, you have also other platforms that you can use these videos, like YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikTok. You can basically, then you can test your message also on other platforms, and you see, then maybe you realize, okay, so maybe other platforms work better for my type of content. With text-based post, I don't know. I never tried that because I was never like this text type of a person. Maybe X would be one of those platforms. As I said, I'm a video guy, so I don't know. But it's universal. These videos, short form videos, are universal. This is the first thing. Second thing is they are super addictive, because why do we love videos so much? Because it's super next best thing to what you have in person, one-on-one conversation. Basically, it's the most authentic thing in the world is having one-on-one conversation. Then the next best authentic thing is this, what we have right now, like a Zoom call, something that's happening in real time. And then the third one is just video, and then we can talk about text and carousels and all other content, because we are used to receive information like this. We're used to hear things and see things. So in a shorter amount of time, you can you can give much more information about your product, about yourself, about your ideas, about everything than in a text-based post. And the consumption is 100 times easier, for the person on the other side. Then maybe, one day we can have a conversation solely on AI avatars, because this is something that I really am passionate about, but not because I use AI avatars, because I truly believe we don't need that. It's again one thing that, we can do awesome, but do we really need it? I don't know. We'll see. One thing that I noticed, there is a platform called Vistia, and they every year they create like a research state of video document when they put it, like they question, I think, around 1,500 whatever participants, and then they have like an algorithm, and they put like some, like, where is video going basically. And what they noticed is, like, from 2024 to 2025, like, this AI created generated videos dropped by 15%. Now, why is that? I don't know. They also don't know exactly why is that. But as I said before, video as a medium is the best medium to create trust, because you see the person on the other side and so on and so forth. So if you take that and instead of me personally, I put an algorithm which can like mimic my face and my blah 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 and so on, but still you can see that it's not a real person, and maybe someday it's going to become the same as a real person, but for now it's not. And then what happens to the trust? Like, if you cannot stand in front of me and tell it into my face what you think, then how can I trust you?
Yeah.
This is based again in psychology. Like, I cannot trust Clement. I wouldn't trust you if I didn't see you. Like, we have a relationship. We met on LinkedIn event. And this is, it was face to face. This is how we are used to create relationships. I'm not saying that our human conscious can be tricked, and they are, because of all the deep fake, conversation and so on and so forth. But and it's super scary, how you can move people, how you can rile up people, with information that is outrageous, that's why I think this technology can be also super, super, super harmful. But as I said, I don't see, maybe history is going to prove me wrong, but now I don't see how these AI avatars can build trust. They are useful. Let's say if you have a SaaS company and or a platform like HubSpot, let's say, and then you have like a huge repository of how-to videos, like how to do something, how to come here, click there, blah, 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 and so on. For that, I don't think you need a physical human being to be there and tell you, like, do this, do that, and so on and so forth. You can have an AI avatar for sure, and maybe because when you are like giving out information, how to's and stuff like that, like, why are people listening? Because they want to learn, they want to get information from you. It doesn't matter how they get it. They get it from you, or from a robot, or from my cat. Basically, it really doesn't matter as long as the information is right and they fix the problem they have. So in these use cases, I think it's AI avatars are super useful. But as I said, as for building trust and creating short form or long form videos on platforms, I don't know how faceless channels, because they on YouTube there were some times where faceless channels were like booming, and you can basically write scripts about really interesting history events or whatever, and then you had the AI synthesized voice that read that script, and then you just put some pictures that kind of showed those information, whatever, and people watched, and then you can, monetize it and so on and so forth. But I don't know. I mean, I don't like my YouTube feed is like I don't have any of them. So it's maybe because I saw them, but it never picked my attention, and I rather watch a real human being who is explaining the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it goes down to, as you said, the purpose of video. If you want to use video as build trust and build face recognition and your brand recognition, and if that's the purpose of it, to build trust with you, I mean, yeah, go and record on your own, and don't break up that opportunity. Where if it's for a walkthrough or there are for sure places where AI avatars are completely well suited for it. Yeah, you probably don't need a real human being doing that. But I think that goes back to the purpose of a video. I in a way, there are kind of tools that can help you write record personalized videos at scale that you can then send through LinkedIn DMs. I mean, yes, it can scale, but are you building trust with me if I get that video?
Exactly.
I don't think so. It wouldn't move the needle on my side.
But this is the age-old question, also in content in general. Like, yeah, you should create content and you will get leads. No, you're not. You can create content that nobody cares about. You're just creating noise and nothing worthwhile. So the problem is not content. The problem is not like video. Let's all create videos. No, what you're going to say in that video, how you're going to present yourself, like what is the intention behind it. That's something that is much more important. That's also like one of the reasons why, before you mentioned the DIY part of video creation. Yeah, it is also the reason why a lot of people are successful using their phones. I'm not using, I don't use my phone to create my videos. First of all, because I'm a videographer, and second of all, because I kind of perceive the videos I put out as a suit, as what I'm wearing. It would never cross my mind to go to an important business meeting in my sweatpants. And no professional person should do that or is able to do that. I don't know, like maybe there are some people, yeah, sure, Mark Zuckerberg or something like that. Yeah, of course, like those tech pros, maybe. I'm not like that. This is not me. That's why I say, like, yeah, I rather use a proper camera and proper lighting because it makes me look good, and I feel better. And this is one thing less that I need to fight about in my head, because as I said before, like I have all this, all the time, like what people are going to think, how are going to be perceived. So, okay, so if I look good, one thing is ticked off. If that means that I need to invest like 1,000 euros into gear to have like peace of mind for the next 5 years, yeah, sure, I'm going to do that, And another thing, the same goes for AI generated content. If everybody is doing videos with their phones, then you have tons of the same looking videos out there. So how are you going to compete? How are you going to stand out? Like the next best thing is, put a light in your background, and do something else, do something differently,
And it goes back to scrolling and then taking the attention, and once you have the attention, you need to communicate the message correctly.
And the same goes for AI created, like AI avatars. Maybe they're going to get really good, and then creating video content is going to be hacked in a way, because you don't have to like grow as a person, because you are growing as a person if you are like pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. If being on the camera is being out of the comfort zone, and you're doing that, you're growing as a person. And so if you take that away with AI, then everybody's going to do it, and then you get again the same story as with DIY videos. So you're going to have tons of people who are going to use it, and everything is going to be the same. So how are you then going to stand out? Yeah, well, going to pick up the camera and go outside,
Yeah.
do something, put yourself in a situation where you can prove this is not AI, and then people are going to say, "Oh, okay, this person have guts," Like, oh, again, like it's straight away, it's different, and it piques people attention.
Thank you so much, Uroš. Not to be too long. I'm sure we'll have a follow-up conversation on a video.
Yes.
Avatar time point. I mean, so much to talk about video. We should all think about it. I mean, my main takeaway message is treat it as a long-term relationship building media more than a short-term return on investment calculation, attribution of what you get from one video. And then keep it in mind that you want to build trust for video. So
yes,
think from that perspective about the video.
If I may add, is like if you don't see yourself creating videos in 6 months, then don't do it. Because I mean, if you expect that you're going to see some meaningful results after 1 month of posting one video per week, maybe. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's unlikely. And my personal experience, and when I'm talking to other people who are using video, it's around 3 to 6 months. Constant, once per week, twice per week, three times per week. Depends on the platform, of course. If you're TikTok, maybe it's every day, maybe multiple times per day. But then again, like, what is the look and feel and the quality of video you can produce? Like, what are the systems you can put in place and you can do it long run? Because if every video drains you of energy and you need to fight yourself with every time with yourself and you stand in front of the camera, then the problem is somewhere else.
Yeah. Well said. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you,
everybody. Thank you for joining. See you next week and see you in the weeks to come.
Take care. Bye.